class, forever free. Bread for lesson. 8-year-old Frederick Douglass grabbed a loaf of bread from the kitchen, slipped out of the back door to run errands. Frederick was enslaved. He was allowed to take as much bread as he liked. He knew he had more to eat than some boys in his neighborhood, so he took food to trade with them. While he had plenty of bread, the other boys had something he wanted even more. They knew how to write. As Frederick walked down the street of Baltimore, Maryland, he thought about how unjust that he wasn't allowed to read. Just the day before, his enslaved wife, Miss Sophia Old, had scratched a newspaper away from him as he tried to read it in secret. All Frederick wanted was an education, but that wasn't allowed for enslaved people. In 1820s, in fact, it was against the law. That's why Frederick had made friends with poor white boys in the city. They had been allowed to attend school. First he teased them, saying, "I bet I know more of the alphabet than you do." He'd write a few letters in the dirt. The other boys could write what they knew, and Frederick would learn to write those new letters. Now he was battling food for proper lesson in reading and writing. Up ahead, Frederick saw one of his friends wanted to give him a lesson and hurried to join him. Frederick would give up his lunch every way to learn. Born into slavery, Frederick was born in February of 1817 or 1818. He never knew the date of his birth, and though he knew his father was white, he never knew who he was. His mother was Harriet Bailey, but Frederick was raised by his grandmother, Bessette Bailey. When he was 8 years old, Frederick was sent to work as a houseboy for some of the enslaved relatives, the Old family in Baltimore, Maryland. When Frederick first came to Oates, Sophia Oates had taught him the alphabet. She gave him several lessons before her husband forbade her. Education and slavery were incompatible, he said. An enslaved person who learned to read would become dissatisfied with the condition and desired freedom. This proved to be true. The more books and newspapers Frederick read, the clearer his own thought about slavery became. The more he was beside slavery, and the more dejected he was. For some time, Frederick struggled to comprehend the word abolition. Whenever an enslaved person ran away or did something an enslaver disliked, the abolition was blamed. Frederick tried looking at the word in the dictionary, but it merely said the act of abolition. What was being abolished? In 1831, Frederick read an article about abolition movement and the people who were striving to end slavery. Now he understood. Some white people want to abolish slavery too. He also learned that black people were free in some states, and he began dreaming of escape. Once you learn to read, Douglass wrote later in life, you will be forever free. Understanding that education and freedom went hand in hand, he began giving lessons to other enslaved people till enslavers stopped his Sunday school. He earned a reputation among enslaved people as a leader and among enslavers as a troublemaker. Escape. For years, Frederick had lived in the city. At 15, he was sent on a farm as a field hand for Edward Covey, Russellman, who best enslaved people to opponents. Learning Frederick to Covey might have been Oates' ways of pushing Frederick trying to educate other enslaved people as well as himself. Covey most succeeded in breaking his spirit, After enduring 6 months of abuse, the 16-year-old Frederick fought back. Later he wrote, "We were at it for nearly 2 hours. Covey at length let me go, puffing and blowing a great dread, saying that if I had not resisted, we would not have with me half so much. The truth was that he had not with me at all." After their confrontation, Frederick began to plan his escape in earnest. He tried one, was caught. Still, Frederick continued to dream of freedom, work on literacy, even joining the East Baltimore Mental Improvement Society, a debate club. There was Frederick met Anna Murray, a free black woman. Together, Anna and Frederick planned his escape. She sent him her savings so that he could buy a train ticket and sewed him a sailor's uniform. Dressed in this, carrying a free man's passport, traveled through Delaware and Peninsula to New York. The escape took little less than 24 hours. When he wrote, I live more in one day than a year of my slave life." Speaking to audience later, Frederick would say, "I appeared before you this evening as thief and a robber. I stole this head, this limb, this body from my master and ran off with them." Escaping didn't mean that Frederick was truly free. Enslaved people who made it to free states could live as they were free, but they could still be seized, taken back to slave state. Frederick sent for Anna to join him, and they were married in 1838. Since Frederick was a free thief who could be caught and forced back to slavery, they took a new name, Douglas. The newlywed Mr. and Miss Douglas sat in New Bedford, Massachusetts, as 5 children together. Writing and speaking, Douglas began to speak at anti-slavery meetings with his first-hand account of a life as an enslaved person and his bold escape. He became the voice of abolition movement. His very existence countered the enslavers' argument that enslaved people lacked the intellect to function as free American citizens. Yet Douglas was so articulate that some white people refused to believe he had ever been enslaved. Douglas wrote the first free autobiography, narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. When published in 1845, critics charged that book, like Douglas, was fake, so no one has been enslaved could join an equal, they argued. Yet the book was an instant success and persuaded many people that someone who had been enslaved could possess a great mind. At the same time, the book included details that could have led Douglas' arrest and fugitive in viticulture. Douglas went about 2 years to speaking tour of Ireland and England, an electrifying speaker. He would oversee and fundraise money for Douglas' Freedom project called Manumission. When Douglas returned to the United States in 1848, he founded a newspaper, also penned thousands of speeches and editorials calling for social justice. "I expose slavery in this country," wrote Douglas, "because to expose it is to kill it. Slavery is one of the monsters of darkness, to whom the light of truth is death." One of his most speeches was, "What to the slave is the 4th of July." When he delivered a speech on July 5, 1852, Douglas surprised his audience posing questions about what Independence Day meant for enslaved people and those once enslaved. "What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence or the great principles of political freedom?" of natural justice and embodied that in declarations of independence extended towards the land free by Civil War. Douglass was the most admired black man in the United States. In 1863, he served as President Lincoln's advisor during the drafting of Emancipation Proclamation, an order just freed majority of enslaved people. Yet the abolition of slavery wasn't a state goal of the war. To make Douglass repeatedly urged Lincoln to make this one. Some historians think Douglass helped inspire the renowned Gettysburg Address and Lincoln's inaugural address. Douglass also convinced Lincoln how to allow black soldiers to fight for the North. The Union Army 54th Massachusetts Regiment was the first to be comprised of black soldiers, including two Douglass sons. Douglass' writing and speaking had ended slavery with the 13th Amendment, passed after the Civil War ended in 1865. 3 years later, the 14th Amendment granted citizenship to people who once enslaved, and shortly after that, in 1870, the 15th Amendment granted male citizens, including those enslaved, the right to vote for the rest of his life. Douglass continued to promote equality for all Americans. He wanted the United States to reach its potential as the land of free for black people, women, Native Americans, and immigrants too. I would unite with anybody to do right, with nobody to do wrong, Douglass says. Douglass remained married to Anna for 44 years till she passed away in 1882. 2 years later, he married Helen Pease, an advocate for civil rights. The marriage caused controversy. This Pease, like a white woman, but Douglass asked in a letter to be friend. What benefits had the word in the color of my wife? Today, Douglass is often referred as the father of the civil rights movement. 70 years after his death, at the height of that movement, the United States Postal Service honored him with his own 1965 postage stamp. It changed the way the country thought about slavery and race, and left behind words that continued and inspired Americans, including his newspaper motto, "Right is of no sex, truth is of no color."
You're amazing. A perfect